Good morning, everybody, and this is your Forex Day trade setups for today. So we had some news come into the market yesterday. We had Trump finally conceding, basically sending a letter through to Biden, and then we had some noise on some more vaccines that are coming to the market. What happened basically was just a dollar strengthening quickly. Now, what it does look like to me, though, and it's not tidy, but you should get the picture here. We have this megaphone formation. So we've bounced off the top level, which is 118.880. We were looking for a close above that. We haven't got a close on the 8 hour. And then we also are looking at this bottom level for structure as well, which is 118.157, which is pretty much where the buyers have stepped in off. If we look at the hour, just get there if it'll work. You'll see pretty clearly here we've got an hour close and a second hour bar above this 118.880, and then obviously the news came in and we plummeted down to test the lower levels, and now we're back in the middle again. So for all intents and purposes, this is still in a range. It's consolidating. It's looking like it could be a megaphone formation forming as well. So for me, I'm still staying away from the dollar pairs right now. So this is still money in pocket. This can still go either way. Okay. Looking at the US dollar Japanese yen, similar situation here. You can see how we were going sideways. It was looking like we were about to reject this area, but that confusion continued, which basically always keeps me out. Now we've got this massive rally to the upside. I'm not entirely convinced at the moment. This is still above and below the moving average on the 8 hours, so that's an indication for me to stay away from it. And if you look at what's forming right now on the hour, we have a bit of a wedge forming, and we're quite far from the moving average. So I think for longs, I'm going to want to see a retest of this area here. So I want to see a retest of 104.181, or alternatively 104.045. If we come back into that area and we hold it, then I'd be looking at longs. Bear in mind that we do have this trend line break here. Okay. So there's our trend line break. Retest of this area won't really test the trend line, but it would be a deep enough pullback to get me looking at this. So that's the only opportunity I see of the $2 pairs at the moment. If we look at Aussie dollar, Canadian dollar, still in this channel. We've sort of been all over the place yesterday, so bounced to the downside, came off. I was going to move this level here so we can get a firm reading on the structure. You can see what I'm doing. I'm just basically looking for tails, and you can see there's a whole lot of tails there. There's a fractal there, there's two fractals there. So that seems to be a half decent level, and I'm going to use that level as well, because that would be the next area there. Okay, if we move to the hour, this is another pair that there's nothing much really there at the moment, and you can see a strong rally to the upside. Okay, bounced off this level, which is 0.95762, and then we bounced to the downside. So sort of bounced off that area to the downside, and now it looks like we are. I can probably just move that trend line, but I'll just make it a little bit more messy for us. It looks like that is our area of support here. So we've got this trend line here, we've got a horizontal here. So 0.95319 is the area we want to see hold at the moment. But looking at that on the hour, just looks to the left, above and below the moving average, above and below the moving average. There's no trend here. This is another one to just sit and wait for. Euro Aussie dollar, pretty much the same thing transpiring here. We do have this range at the moment. It is making higher lows, if you can see there. In fact, let's just keep that and delete the range. So we do have a number of higher highs being made. We've also got, it depends how you draw it, but pretty much we've got a consolidation triangle forming here. We are staying below the moving average, so you'd be looking for shorts at the moment. But if we move across to the 1 hour, you'll see pure indication of confusion. So tested the moving average here above it, we're now below it. You know, it still looks to the left, you can still see it is sideways. We're pretty much in this sideways motion. There is this head and shoulders forming, okay, so there's a shoulder, there's a head, there's a shoulder. So what we need to do here is get a level, and that seems to be the most logical level at the moment, 161.880. So if any direction would be favored at the moment, it would be a break to the downside. So if we get a break through this area and then a pullback and a retest of 161.880 and that holds and it carries on rolling, then I'd be looking for shorts, and the short you'd be looking for is pretty much the height of the head and shoulders, okay, and that'll take us somewhere down to this area. I just want to pop back to the 8 hour to see if there is any structure there. Not really at all. So yeah, I think the most logical area would be this area, 161.323. So I would be very cautious of that. More than likely a move to this 161.323 and then probably find support there for another move back up to test these highs, something like that. Delete that. So that's kind of what I'm expecting this range to continue. Okay, just look to the left and you'll see the structure. Okay, so yeah, that's nothing that I can see there as well. British pound, Japanese yen. So we've had the strong move up. We came back, we kind of tested the moving average, bounced off these levels here. And I suppose the reality of this situation is that we came down to test this level. Okay, so I'll leave that one there. I think that's a worthy one. And at the moment, we are bouncing off this inside bar here, this inside tail. So I would expect us to pull back, and an area I would expect us to pull back to would be to come and test this trend line. Alternatively, well, this should be the same area. So 138.375 should test the trend line and also test its previous breakout. That's what I'd want to see for another move to the upside. If we look at the hour, you can see this little climb here has been a bit messy. Okay, so you've got this rising wedge at the moment. You've got this pretty big gap to the downside as well, so I definitely expect a pullback. So this is the area to watch on this pair. So it's 138.375. If we get back down here and we hold it, okay, in other words, we come down here and we sort of hold the structure and move back the upside, that would be an opportunity to get in. The other area to pay attention to is this previous swing high here, 138.863. That would stay above the moving average as well, and the moving average is pointing up, which is trend up at the moment, so that would be a half decent pullback as well. Okay, 138.863. Those are two levels to watch on British pound, Japanese yen. Aussie dollar, US dollar, obviously part of the US dollar pairs. We're still range bound. We had a massive break of this trend line, so I would expect a rejection of 0.73269. So I'd expect sellers to step in there. That's basically what's been happening for quite some time. If you look to the left, oops. So that's what I would expect. So that's the area I would be waiting for at the moment. And well, we are on the hour. Let's make sure there's nothing different on the 8 hour. Yeah, 8 hour we are sideways. Basically telling us to stay out of it at the moment. But we do have this trend line break, and we're coming up to test the top again. So I would expect some kind of rejection off here again. If we do break to the upside, which is also a possibility, so let's just do this. So there's our bottom trend line on the 8 hour, and then we've got this. I suppose what we should do is just delete those two so you can see what we're talking about. There we go. Okay, so we have a flat top triangle here as well. So one or two things are going to play, obviously. It's either going to go long or short, right? So the first thing is to notice that the buy is coming in off this trend line. So it does, at first glance, it does look like we're looking to push this market to the upside. So this is the level we need to watch. If we can get through 0.73269, so in other words, break up, come back, test it, hold it, and start moving back up again with higher highs, that would be an indication for longs. Or alternatively, it's going to get to this area, 0.73269, and reject it, and then start making lower lows. Then I'd expect another move down to at least a trend line. If a trend line gives, then to the bottom of the range. Okay, so at the moment it is range bound, above and below the moving average, confusing, but it could be a bigger flat top triangle playing out, or forming, not playing out, and we need to just pay attention to both scenarios at the moment and be ready to trade whichever way it's going to go. So 50-50 at the moment, so we'll just sit and watch that one as well. British pound, Aussie dollar. Now this one is another one that pretty much was going sideways. We've broken to the upside on the 8 hour. We're back on this area of 182.304, and if we look at the 1 hour, you'll see quite a bit of structure here, but we have closed below it. So I would assume that we're more than likely going to be going sideways here, or alternatively just drop back into this range and stay in the range right now. So there's nothing that I can see there at the moment. Looking at the Aussie dollar, US dollar, yeah, it's also 50-50 of whether it's going to be a strong dollar or not. But anyway, this is the breakouts are starting to form. I think that's the important thing to realize, and your patience will be paying off shortly. So what we need to do at the moment is really just watch the pairs and see what transpires. This one I'm also not really interested in. I think we'll wait and see what transpires. But this above and below the moving average is always an indication of confusion and not something I do like trading. Trendy is up at the moment if you look at it, but I want some decent structure that we can get in and get out on. So that's me on Forex today. Again, not much brewing at the moment, but that may change this afternoon. We'll have to wait to see what happens when the USA wakes up. I think when we've got the whole world trading at the same time, which is pretty much when the USA markets open, then we should get some volumes and some volatility coming through, and we'll have to see what happens at that point. Okay, so anyway, for me this morning on the European session, it's sit on hands still. Hope it helps, and we'll catch you later. Cheers for now.